Here we go again, folks. Wherever you are watching this, you might be watching this on replay on YouTube. More people are going to see this on replay than will see it live. But shout out to everybody who is checking in live. If you are checking in live, let me make sure that you know I have a live event starting in less than 1 week, and it is called Work on Your Game Live. I just posted the comment with the link. I just pinned it. If you haven't gotten your ticket to that event, make sure you get your ticket to that event right there. That event is starting next Thursday. It'll be Thursday and Friday of next week. So next week at this time, it will be in process. It will be happening at this time next week. So as y'all are checking in, go ahead, shout yourselves out in the comments section, and we're going to get started in a minute. Matt, you seen what's going on. Arvin said you got a job interview. Good luck on your job interview. As y'all are coming in, again, shout yourselves out. We're going to get started in a second. Brazil is in the house. Shout out to Brazil. All of you who have not yet gotten your ticket to Work on Your Game Live, the pinned comment is right there. There's also the link in my bio. We're going to be talking today 3 things that your business absolutely needs. Doesn't matter what your business does or who you are helping, but we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about that a little bit as well. So as y'all coming in, shout yourselves out, and we're going to get started in 1 second. And it's the end of the month, so if y'all haven't set your goals for the month of May, you should go ahead and put that somewhere on your to-do list today to make sure you set your goals for next month and to check your goals for this month. See how you did this month. Don't show up next month with no goals. So as y'all shouting in, as y'all checking in, shout yourselves out. Let's see, we got Donna Lynn. Donna Lynn. Canada is in the house. Shout out to Canada. Just Peachy, what's going on? And let me introduce myself while people are coming in, and then we'll get started. Usually people come in probably about 5 minutes into when I start talking. That's when people come in. I think there's a little lag time between when I start and when the people come in. But anyway, it doesn't matter. My name is Dre Baldwin. Many know me as Dre all day. I'm a former 9-year pro ball player. I'm the author of 31 books. I'm the creator of this whole brand philosophy, this framework called Work on Your Game. It's all about taking the Callie's in the house. It's all about taking the mental tools, the assets, the skills, the strategies, the tactics that athletes use to get to the top 1% in the sports world, and then taking those same tools. And what I've done is I've created this whole framework, this whole system that translates those tools from the sports world to the business world and to everyday life. That's what Work on Your Game is about. Virgin ever since. What's going on? Shout out to you. Thanks for checking in. And what we're talking about here today, and this is in lead up. I told y'all all the last 2 weeks that this is full disclosure. I'm doing these lives in a lead up to my live event called Work on Your Game Live, which is starting next Thursday, which would be May 5th. So it's going to be May next week. It's going to be May in a couple days, as a matter of fact. So if you haven't been checking your goals for this year, if you didn't have goals for this year, you haven't been checking your goals for this month, or haven't set your goals for next month, make sure you do that right now, because time does not slow down and does not go backwards. So we will never get another April of 2022, and you don't want to show up to anywhere in life without a plan. You don't want to just show up somewhere and just start randomly doing stuff and hope that it works. That's why we set goals. Goals are a version of a plan, and goals are like a script. It's like a script for an actor. You don't show up to the set with no script, not knowing your lines. You got to know what you're going to talk about before you get there. So everybody who is in here right now, make sure you are setting your goals. That's not what my event is about. It will be about business goals, but I'm talking about on a personal level. Make sure your goals are set. Content is ready. That's what's up. Well, then you should come to Work on Your Game Live. Anyway, just peachy. So anyway, what we're talking about here today, I'm gonna tell you 3 specific things that your business needs. I'm gonna tell you why your business needs these things, and understand that everything I'm going to talk about here today, how do you actually do these things and put them in place? I'm going to be teaching that and going deep on it at Work on Your Game Live next week, May 5th and 6th. It's a 2-day event. It's a virtual event specifically for the entrepreneurs who are selling your intellectual property. That means you're doing coaching, speaking, any kind of training. You're writing books. You're doing courses. You want to do you want to do a TED talk, you want to do workshops, anything like that where you're basically teaching people knowledge. You want to be an information entrepreneur. You want to sell information and processes and frameworks and systems, just like Work on Your Game is a framework and a system. All of that is being taught at Work on Your Game Live. The link is there. It's also in my bio. So let's get right into it, because I don't even have to say too much more introduction to this, and y'all will understand exactly what I'm talking about here. And by the way, if anybody has a question or a comment about anything that I say while I'm talking, if you just post the comment, I address all the comments at the end. So if there are any comments or questions, just post it and I'll scroll through at the end and I will address all the good ones. So people have always asked me, over the years, because many of you might not know, when I first came out on the internet, it was through basketball. I used to post all these basketball videos like every day on YouTube. I used to post like multiple basketball videos on YouTube every single day. I started in 2005. I wasn't putting them out every day back then. I started putting them out every day around 2009. That was around the time when YouTube started running ads and stuff like that. You can make ad revenue. That's when I was incentivized to put more content out. And then between 2009 and 2015, that's when I stopped hooping. That's when I was putting out basketball content. I was putting out videos like 2, 3, 4, sometimes 5 videos a day. And that's all I was doing. Then at the same time, I started writing books around 2010. Started talking about mindset stuff. I started doing these videos called The Weekly Motivation every Monday. And all that stuff led into what I do now. So when I stopped playing ball in 2015, went full-time in the business, I already knew what I was going to do, because the people who were watching me, they liked the mindset stuff that I was talking about. And people who didn't even play ball liked the mindset stuff that I was talking about. That's how I started to branch outside of basketball. People who didn't play ball were seeing those weekly motivation videos. So then when I went full-time in the business, people started asking me, well, how'd you do it? How did you put this together? What's your process? What are your strategies? How do you do these things? So I'm going to make sure that I'm laying this out, and I'm going to give you 3 simple points here. This is not a fully conclusive list of everything you need in your business, but these are 3 things that every business does need, and any business that you know of that is running smoothly has these 3 things in place. Any of you who's in business, whether you're in business for yourself or you work for a company, if that company has things running smoothly, I guarantee you they have these 3 things in place. And anytime one of these 3 things is not in place, there's going to be challenges, and there's going to be challenges that lead to trouble, and until or unless these things get addressed. And this could be online or offline. This could be a company with a whole bunch of people. This could be a personal brand with one individual person. This framework applies to anyone. So this is very simple to understand, not necessarily easy to implement, but that's why I'm having an event, so I can show you exactly how to implement it and all the details that I'm not going to be able to get into here today. Point number 1, we're talking 3 things every business needs. Number 1 thing every business needs, and any of you who's in business, you should understand this. This is the number 1 thing that actually puts you in business in the first place, and is the most important thing for any business that is being run. Number 1 thing you need is customers. Number 1 thing, you need customers. You need paying clients. Whether you want to call them customers, you want to call them clients, you want to call them, if you run a gym, you might call them members. Whatever you call it, whatever words you want to put on it, you need people who don't work there, who are bringing their money, whether that's cash, credit, Bitcoin, whatever, and they are actually exchanging their money for whatever it is that they get from you. Whether that's information, whether it's access to the weight room, whether it's they get to get on the live calls with you, whether it's, what else can people sell? Whether it's envelopes, I'm just looking around in this room that I'm in right now, whether it's the iPad, whether it's a book, whether it's the computer, whether it's some juice, whether it's the lights, whatever it is that you're selling, you need people who are willing to exchange their money for the thing that you have. You need paying clients. If you don't have any paying clients, you don't have any business. Well, you won't have any business going on. You could be a business, but you're not a business if you don't have any clients. So the number 1 thing that puts you in business is having people who are willing to pay for whatever it is that you're offering. This is the key to any business. So number 1 thing, everybody got it, is you need paying clients. And let's talk about this a little bit more. This is not just, we're here on social media. I'm posting this I'm doing this live on Instagram, but y'all can see this you might see this on Facebook. You might see it on YouTube. Understand that it's not just followers, likes, comments, subscribers, engagement. All of those things are fine. Those are good things to have, but you can't pay your bills with any of those things, right? We all understand that. You need people who are willingly exchanging their money. And the key here is just the exchange, right? Just having prospects on their own doesn't help unless you're getting your stuff into people's hands. So your job is to be the marketer. That's your biggest job, is figuring out how do I market and sell the stuff that I have, whether it's a book, it's a course, it's an information. If you want to do live events, if you want to be a professional speaker, you want to stand on stage and you want to motivate and inspire people, whatever it is you want to do, there's a lot of different ways that you can get the money. The question is, who are you going to give that thing to, and are they willing to pay for it? Those are the questions that absolutely must be answered, and you make the money every time that you create the exchange. When you create more exchange, you create more business. Number one thing every business needs, you need paying clients. Now, the challenge for a lot of people when it comes to creating the paying clients is they do the operation backwards. So I'll tell you, this is a bonus point here, is what you might be doing wrong, many of you entrepreneurs out there, and I'll help you with this in my event next week, is that you first think about what's the thing that you want to do, or what's the thing that you want to offer, and then you try to go and see who's actually going to pay for this. So I talk to a lot of entrepreneurs who do this, because entrepreneurs naturally have a lot of ideas. They're naturally creative. So they'll come up with some idea like, all right, I'm going to do this. I got this book right here. I got this course. I got this workshop. I got this information that I want to give out to the world. And then they're like, all right, well, I have this thing. I created it. Here it is. Beautiful. It's perfect. It's pretty. Now I need to figure out who am I going to sell it to? How am I going to get anybody to want this? And I'll ask them, well, how do you know anybody does want it? And then they'll go off in their little spiel and they'll give me their pitch of why the thing that they created is so good and so useful and why somebody would want it. The challenge is they didn't figure out if anybody wanted it before they created it. And this is a backwards way of doing things. So a mistake that you might be making, I might do a lot of this on this alone, and this and others, is making the thing first and then trying to find an audience for it. That's not the way to do it. There's a better way of doing it, and there's a strategy to doing that the better way, in a way that actually works, so that you know when you put something out, people will actually want it. I'll talk about that probably in a future live. But number one thing here is you need paying clients, people who are willing to pay for what you're offering. Number two, we're talking three things that every business needs. So we got clear, you need clients. Number two thing you need is clarity. Number two is clarity. What does clarity mean? It means knowing what you are about, knowing what you are selling, knowing how you're selling it, knowing who you're for, who you're not for. You got to be very clear as to what your business is about, what your brand is about, what you are about, and you need to be clear as to what your client is about. Who are you actually trying to serve, and how do you know that you're giving them what they need? And understand something. I talked about this in episode 1364 of my podcast, the concept of rejection marketing. You don't want everybody in your audience. One of the biggest challenges for a lot of, especially new and up and coming entrepreneurs, is that they want to try to appeal to everybody. They want everybody to like them. They want everybody to agree with them. They want to be accepted and validated by everybody. The challenge when you're trying to be everything to everybody is, as the saying goes, you are nothing to nobody. So who are you actually trying to appeal to? You should focus on only appealing to them and excluding everybody else. Doesn't mean you have to try to offend everybody else, but if you happen to offend everybody else, so what? They're probably not going to pay you for anything anyway. So you want to focus on the people who actually want something from you, and the homework that you have to do happens way before that, in knowing exactly who you're serving. It can't be, well, this could be for anybody. This could be for everybody. Anybody could benefit from this. Anyone can learn from this. Technically, you're probably right. All right. If everyone in the world understood the concept and the value of, let's say, something like discipline, then listen, everybody in the world could probably benefit from this book right here called The Third Day, The Decision That Separates the Pros from the Amateurs. This book is all about how do you show up in the moments when you don't really feel like showing up. I'll give you a free copy of this if you go to thirddaybook.com. If everybody in the world understood the value of showing up and being consistent and being disciplined, then yes, everybody, quote unquote, everybody could benefit from this book. But is everybody going to read this book? No. I know there are some people who are not going to read that book for several reasons. Number one, some people just don't read. They don't read books. Number two, some people will read a book if it lands in their lap, but they're not going to take any action to go get the book. They rather spend that same amount of money that you would pay to cover the shipping here. They rather spend that on a bag of chips and a soda and a slice of pizza, or they rather go to the movies. They are not interested in that. They rather watch some YouTube videos than read a book. This is just what it is. So you need to be clear on who you're serving, how you're serving, and what you're about, what you're not about, and how are you going to get your message across to the people that you want to serve. Again, all of this we're going to be talking about in detail at Work on Your Game Live. People try to be too many things to too many different people when they're running their business, and I already told you what happens. When you're trying to be everything to everybody, you're nothing to nobody. So know who and what you are, and also know who and what you are not. Excluding people is just as important as including people, because when you're trying to be everything to a whole bunch of people, well, how can you do that? Because everybody is unique. There are so many different types of people out here. How can you talk to all of them at the same time? Well, the answer is you really can't. That's why you have to be really discerning, and you have to be choosy about who it is that you're serving, how you're serving them. If you do your homework properly, then this won't even become a problem for you, because your homework was done up front. You don't have to worry about that. Now, what do I mean by saying doing your homework and Work on Your Game Live? I'll be explaining exactly what that is. Number 3. We're talking 3 things that every business needs. So we got unique customers, paying clients. Number 2, you need clarity. And number 3, you need direction. What exactly are you doing? Where are you going? And if somebody comes into your world, so if I decide I'm going to come into your business, I'm going to become a paying client. I decide that I'm going to be a buyer for whatever it is that you're offering me. Where are you taking me? So if I join your world, what's going to happen? What am I going to get? All right, here's where I'm at today. Where am I going to be 6 months from now if I start working with you right now? Where am I going to be in 30 minutes if I buy your product today? All right, what's going to happen to me? What's going to happen for me? What's going to happen through me? What will I be able to do because I decided to do business with you? Because I decided to make an exchange with you. I gave you my money. You're going to give me your product, your service, your information, whatever. What's going to happen for me? This is direction. And you need clarity. You as a salesperson, you got to have clarity as far as what this direction is. So you need clarity yourself as to what you're doing, and the people who you serve need clarity as to what they're getting, because that's the only way they're going to do anything. Like, people don't do something if they don't know what they're going to get, for the most part. Most people don't buy things they don't know what they're getting as a result. Maybe somebody who's really, really, really into your stuff, they might buy it even if they don't know what they're going to get, but most people need to have some idea of why am I doing this before I do anything. Most people don't do something for nothing. So many entrepreneurs I meet have challenges understanding the very first point about getting clients, but they finally get around to it, hopefully. And sometimes people show up into my world, they already have their clients in place, or at least they have some clients. Here's the thing. Of all the stuff that you are doing, where is it taking you? This is the question that you have to have an answer to. And anyone who comes into your world, they need an answer of, again, where are you going to take them? So where do you begin? There's so many things you can do. You can get on social media and you can post, or you could go write a book. You could do live streams like I'm doing right now, or you could send a bunch of emails. You could do a live event. You could hire a coach. You could read 10 more books on how to run your business. How do you know what to do first? See, clarity is not only for you, but it's also for your audience, and it's also for your team, anybody who's working with you. So what do you do first? What do you do next? What do you do next? When people are unclear where to begin, they often won't ask to just move on to the next thing. So this is the thing. You don't want people to be confused. Because when people are confused, they do not become paying clients. All right? They do not become customers. They need to know exactly what they're going to get and exactly how it's going to go. So I want to recap these 3 points once again. 3 things that your business needs. Number 1, you need paying clients. Number 2, you need clarity for you and them. And number 3, you need a clear direction. Where are you going? What's going to happen? Where are you going to be 6 months from now? Where are you going to be 3 weeks from now? Where are you going to be a year from now? If you don't have answers to these, then one of these is, let me back up. If you don't have answers to all 3 of these, that's probably the reason why your business is having a challenge right now. That's the bad news. The good news is you can absolutely do something about this. The challenge is if you keep sitting around and thinking about it and doing what you've been doing up to this point that has led you to this position of having these challenges, then nothing's going to change. But if you want something to change, then of course we know how it starts. You have to change. You have to do something different. That's why I'm having a live event, which is Work on Your Game Live, which is starting next Thursday. Get your ticket at workonyourgame.live. It's a virtual event, by the way, so it doesn't matter where you reside in geographically. You can attend the event live from wherever you live. It's 2 days, virtual event. You get access to all the recordings as long as you have a ticket to the event. Plenty of people have told me they're going to be at the event, but they can't attend both days, so they'll just get access to all the recordings, which is fine. And that is, again, for the intellectual property salespeople, the entrepreneurs, the sales coaches, sales of coaching, books, authors, speakers, workshops, etc., etc. That's all at workonyourgame.live. So 3 things again. Number 1, paying clients. Number 2, clarity. Number 3, direction. This is what you need for your business. If you don't have these 3 things in place right now, there's work that needs to be done. So let me take questions. If anybody has a question, nobody posted a question while I was talking here. I think I saw every comment that came through. If somebody has a question, you can go ahead and post it right there. Black Bees Honey, what's going on? I appreciate you. I don't think I saw a question. Maybe I missed it though. All right, but if somebody has a question, you go ahead and post it in the comment section right now. But the topic again is 3 things that every business is going to need going forward. While I'm sitting here seeing if somebody leaves a comment, make sure you set your goals for the month of May. This is outside of this topic. Set your goals for the month of May. Check your goals for the month of April. Check your progress on your goals through so far in the year 2022. We're 4 months in. We are already into quarter 2. Do not show up to the new month without a plan. Question is marketing for yourself simple? It's an interesting question. Simple is a very relative term. So simple, I would say, it depends on how you define that term. So I would say it can be simple as long as you have a strategy. If you got these 3 things that I said, you can take out point number 1 about their paying clients. But if you're clear on exactly who you're marketing to, who's the question, just Peachy. So if you're clear on exactly who you're marketing to and you have a clear direction on where you want your marketing to take you and what kind of people you're trying to reach, then it can be a lot easier. But if you're not clear on who you're trying to reach and where you're trying to take them and what you want them to do, then it can become much more complicated very quickly, because there's a lot of different ways to market these days. You can market yourself through doing live streams. You can run ads. You can send out direct mail. You could pay for billboard space. You can do influencer marketing. I could hit up somebody with 100 times more followers than me and ask them to post a post about my stuff. So all of those things can happen. That's a lot of different ways to market yourself. But we're going to be talking about marketing on day 2. Actually, we're going to talk about it a little bit on both days of the event. Oh, by the way, day 1 is about mindsets and strategy. Day 2 of Work on Your Game Live is about implementation and execution. So those are the 2 days again. Mindset and strategy day 1, implementation, execution day 2. So marketing will be covered on both days, because you need to understand the mindset of marketing first of all, then the actual application and the execution of marketing, which is going to be covered on day 2. So we'll be covering that on both days at Work on Your Game. Question is, I've created so much work without tailoring it to my target clientele. Well, at least you understand that. Now, the next question then is, or the question is, what are you going to do now that you understand that? Now, do you have a strategic plan for how you're going to make the necessary edits so that you can target your target clientele? That's the next thing to do. Now, one way is to try to figure that out yourself. The other way is to take the shortcut and come to Work on Your Game Live, where I will help you figure it out and make it simple enough that is not only something that you can do, but something that you will do. Because listen, a lot of people everybody has some kind of challenge going on. Every entrepreneur has some kind of challenge going on, but some entrepreneurs see that they have a challenge, but then when they see what kind of work is required to actually fix the challenge, they don't really want to do the work. because maybe it looks like more work than it needs to be. And sometimes it is a lot of work, but oftentimes it's not as much as they think it is. But because they don't have the strategy in place, it seems like it's much more work than it actually is. But until they get access to the strategies, they'll never know the difference. But that's why I work on your game live. I'll be talking about those strategies to make things simple enough that you can execute on it, and it's bite-sized enough that nobody ever feels overwhelmed. When people feel overwhelmed, they end up, for the most part, they don't do anything, in my experience. Bees Black Honey, appreciate that. Question is, I have a body sculpting business. I use social media platforms. I feel like I plateaued. You use it for what? Just Peachy, what do you use it for? Do you use it for social media platforms? Are you saying you use it for like posting on social media? Do you run advertising on social media? Do you do influencer marketing? Do you get influencers to post about you, about your business? When you say you use social media platforms, what do you mean? And when you say plateaued, also, what do you mean by that? I think Peachy said that answers the question. All right, well, I think I answered your question. I don't even know. So thinking people will just see the potential. Yeah. So again, at Work on Your Game, day one, Work on Your Game live. Day one is mindset and strategy. A lot of entrepreneurs think that the biggest thing that they need is, I just need to know more things that I can do, more actions that I can take. Many people, anybody who's listening to anybody who has a whole brand called Work on Your Game, they're usually looking to do some kind of work. They're willing to take action, which is a good thing. The challenge is, if you don't have the right mindset or strategy about the work that you're doing, you can put in a whole lot of work and still not get the result. And that's why the mindset and strategy matters so much. So we have to have the principles in place as the ground floor. Then on top of that, you build the strategies. And on top of that is the actions and the tactics. So yes, I use it for marketing. Well, what do you mean by that? You use it for marketing. I mean, everybody uses it for marketing. So do you mean like you put a post up? Do you run ads? Do you do influencing? Do you get influencers to post about your business? What do you mean when you say use it for marketing? That's the question that I'm asking here, so I can kind of get a better feel of what you're doing and how you're doing it. So while I'm waiting on that, I'm going to recap. I'm going to tell everybody again the three things that I said here today. We are talking three things every business needs. Number one, you need paying clients or customers or members or whatever you want to call them, people who are exchanging their money for your thing. Number two, you need clarity. What are you doing and what are people getting when they come into your world? And number three, direction. Where are you taking people? How are you going to take them there? How is it going to help them? Why is it going to benefit them? And all of these things we will be talking about in detail at, can you guess, Work on Your Game Live. Next week, next Thursday and Friday, May 5th and 6th is a virtual event. You can attend the event from the comfort of your own home. All you need is an internet connection. Even if you miss a day, or both days as a matter of fact, you will get full access to the replays. I'll put the replays up probably at the end of the day, each day. An hour or two after the end of the day, because we got to download the recording, then we put it up, and then we'll send the email out for everybody who has a ticket. That is next Thursday and Friday. Day one, mindset, strategy. Day two, application, execution. I'm pulling up the page right now so I can tell y'all every single thing we're going to be talking about at Work on Your Game Live. On day one, when we are talking mindset and strategy, first of all, we're going to talk the essence of entrepreneurship, what business you are actually in, attracting your ideal client, understanding and selling your avatar, and what does that even mean. We're going to give a sales workshop, framework focus, organizing your intellectual property. You have to be able to organize your knowledge. The Dream 100, how to network profitably, getting your ego out of the way. All of those are covered on day one. On day two, creating irresistible offers, clean copywriting that converts, prolific publishing, why is the key to your future, the name your price system. If you want to make more money from the current amount of sales that you're making, how can you do it? Human capital, who to get and what you need to develop. When do you work for free, if you would ever? Crushing it with codification, the 3 levels of money making, and the delegation decision. All of that is going to be covered at Work on Your Game Live. That's day 1 and day 2 I just covered. And I've read all of that right off the page. So any of you want to get a recap of everything I just said, just go to workonyourgame.live. You'll see it. It is all listed right there on the page. All right, so if I could take another question, I'll take one more question, then we'll wrap it up. Are you getting your ticket? That's what's up. We will see you there. And today is, today's Friday the 29th. This is the last business day of the month of April. So on a side note, again, set your goals for next month. Don't show up with no goals. Don't show up to May with no goals. May starts on what, Sunday? 30 days in April, yes. So tomorrow's Saturday, and that's it. Let's see. Bees Black Hunt. I'm a digital creator. I want to create ads for other entrepreneurs. Too many ideas. So is it your Bees Black Honey? When it comes to the ads that you create, are you creating the ad strategy, or are you creating the visual for the ad, or do you do both? Which one are you referring to that you create? Is it you are the digital creator who can make it look good, or are you also dealing with the back end part of it? Like, who are we targeting? How much do you spend? Which audiences to send the ad to? Do you do both parts, or are you doing the visual part? You doing the visual part? Okay. Actually, I like that idea. Sounds good. Belf said this is going to be a great event. Purchasing a ticket next week. All right, we'll look forward to seeing you. The 4th, by the way, the event is on the 5th, so the 4th is the last day to get a ticket. So Wednesday, by the way, everybody, is the last day to get a ticket. So today's Friday, so that's 5 days, if my math is correct. So everybody, May 4th is the last day to get your ticket. Bees Black Honey said, how do I narrow down my ideas and not try to go for them all at once? That is a good question. I'm just looking at the page at Work on Your Game Live, and I'm going to tell you where I address that. That is on day 1 of Mindset and Strategy, Bees Black Honey. And the point is understanding and selling your avatar. And I'm reading right off the page. It says right here, I'll walk you through a process for you to know who you're here to help, so you can focus on a specific person and give them what they want, which means no more missing with your products and launches. I'm reading right off the page from workonyourgame.live. So if that sounds like the answer to your question, then you know what I'm going to tell you to do, right? Get your ticket at workonyourgame.live. And also the one right before that, this is all day 1, attracting your ideal client. Contrary to what you've heard, your answer to the what do you do question doesn't have to be super clever or tricky. There's a simple format that makes it easy to answer. I'll be sharing it so you know exactly who you're serving and how to help them. So one of the challenges, Bees Black Honey, your challenge is not necessarily your challenge is not that crazy. There's nothing wrong with you for having that challenge, because entrepreneurs, we all got a bunch of ideas. That's one of the reasons why we become entrepreneurs, because we got a bunch of ideas. So, and then we decide to, and we also have the goal to go into business for ourselves and see if we can make one of these ideas actually produce revenue on a consistent basis. So that's one of the biggest challenges for entrepreneurs, is making decisions, which is I'm going to focus on this and not focus on all of these all at the same time. Doesn't mean you can't have more than one thing going, but you got to focus to get at least one thing going. Then we get the second thing, the third thing, the fourth thing, but one thing at a time. So let's see. Just Peachy says, is this content in one of your books? Which content? I said a whole bunch of things here today. No, this is not in one of my books. I don't think I ever wrote. I haven't written any books that's specifically about what I'm going to be talking about at workonyourgame.live. But I might. Hey, I might write a book based off what I teach at Work on Your Game Live. But Work on Your Game Live didn't happen yet, so I can't write that book yet. No, this is not in one of my books. The better thing about an event as compared to a book, because I got a lot of books. The better thing about an event as opposed to a book, rather, in addition, you could even say, to a book, is that you actually can interact with a human and you can ask questions. If you read my book, then whatever's in the book is in the book. And whatever, if you read something in the book and then you have a question, there's nobody to ask. But at my event, when I'm talking, I mean, you're not going to interrupt me while I'm talking, but when I pause and say, all right, let me answer questions, or I say, put your questions in the chat, I can just address everybody's questions. So one thing that I have said, I've been saying them on these lives, I didn't say it yet today, but I'll say it here, is that any question that anyone has, when you leave the event, all your questions will be answered. So nobody's going to leave the event with unanswered questions. So that's one of the benefits of working with me. Any of you who's ever worked with me before, you know I answer everybody's question. You see what I'm doing right now. I'm going through the chat and just answering y'all questions. I finished with the actual points 10 minutes ago. I'm just answering your questions. So I will answer everybody's questions at the event, any question that you have. And once I give the material, I'm going to answer a lot of your questions before you even ask them, because it will be answered in the material. But then if you still have a question, then I'll go ahead and address it. And the good thing is it will be intimate enough that I can answer everybody's stuff, and we can even get specific. So we can have hot seats, and any of you want to talk specifically about what you personally are doing for your business and a specific challenge based on something that I say for your particular business, I can address that. And even if you're listening and we're talking about somebody else's business, you may get some insights that you can use for your own, even though we're talking about somebody else's. So that will happen as well. That happens all the time in events. Dabber Dean, what's going on? Structure and the mindset. Well, I talk about mindset all the time. So the third day I talk about, this is about the decision that separates the pros from the amateurs. That is not exactly the same what I'm talking about at Working Your Game Live, just peachy, because this is specifically for entrepreneurs. This right here is anyone could benefit from this. Like I said, anyone could benefit from it. This book is all about how do you show up and deliver your best effort when you least feel like it. That's what this book is about. So if that's that mindset, that's what you're talking about, yes, that's covered in this book right here. ThirdDayBook.com is where you get that. Let's see. All right, cool. Answered that. All right, I'll take one or two more questions, then I'll wrap up. I have work to do myself. And I'll be putting together all the presentation and all the notes and all that stuff that I'm actually going to be using at the event next week. I'm going to be doing that over this weekend. Question is, I'm in the transformation business. Do you agree with going with the trends or separating yourself with social media marketing? Going with the trends or separating yourself with social media marketing. I don't think it's necessarily a binary decision between doing one or the other. You could go with the trend. Well, the trend might mean that's what people are looking for, and that's what they're asking for, and that's what they're willing to pay for. So if you're going off the 3 points here, paying clients clarity and direction, then you might want to go with the trend, at least in whole or in part, because that's what the people are willing to pay for. I mean, that's your money right there. So you could go with the trends and at the same time separate yourself. So it's not necessarily a binary decision. And in your industry, transformation business or the fitness business, there's so much competition in that space. You need to do the second one too. You absolutely must separate yourself somehow, some way, because you don't want to be just a trainer. You want to be fill in the blank with the name of your business name or your personal name, so that when people want something when it comes to your area, that they want it only from you. They don't just want it from whoever. They want it specifically from you because they like you that much. So that's really about branding yourself. And I'm pretty sure I mentioned that when I read through these bullet points for day one of Working Your Game Live, or day two. I've read both of them. So you want to make sure that you have a strong enough brand name in the minds of the people who you want to serve, so that when they need something that you actually offer, they want it from you, not just anybody. You don't want to be a commodity, which means you're easily replaceable. So down here in South Florida, it's starting to get warm outside, so now we got the flies. You open the door or the window for 2 minutes, and now the flies start coming in. Nothing you can do about it. So we got to deal with the flies here. Y'all don't have to deal with it because Working Your Game Live is virtual. All right, so you can keep your windows closed. Again, that is workingyourgame.live, 2-day event, Mindset Strategy Day 1. application execution on day 2, virtual event. You can get your ticket right there. It's 2 days, as I said. If you miss a day or you miss an hour or you miss 5 minutes or you want to review something that you heard, you get access to all the recordings, of course. But you must have a ticket to get access to the recordings. And that's that. All right. Anybody else got a question before I wrap up? All right, we got one more here. Dealing with a bunch of lizards. We got lizards here too. There's lizards here in South Florida. I'd rather deal with the lizards than like ants or anything like that. I don't like dealing with like ants or. We need to get a lot of. There's mosquitoes here too, but we don't get the mosquitoes. Just get these random flies. I don't mind lizards. Actually, I was in the gym this morning. There was a lizard in the gym, but the lizards don't bother me. I'm not bothered by the lizards. Some people get like freaked out. They get scared of the lizards. Not me. All right, so we're gonna wrap this one up, everybody. I got work to do. All y'all, I will put this on. This will be on my IG live tab on Instagram, and I will put the recording on YouTube. And I will be doing a couple more lives leading up to the event. The deadline to get your ticket is Wednesday. Wednesday is the last day to get your ticket to Working Your Game Live. Today is Friday that I'm recording this, so you got 5 days. Get your ticket, and I will see you all there. Y'all have a great Friday. So, Ray said I got a question. Go ahead and post it. You don't have to announce that you got a question. Just post it. All right, you caught me right before I wrap this up, so go ahead and post your question. Whoever said that they got a question, and I'll address that one, and then I will wrap this up. So while we are waiting, what do I think about moving in silence? I don't even know what you mean by that. What do I think about moving in silence? You gotta give me more context to that question. I don't even know what that means. So I'm gonna let you post one more comment to give me some context to what you're talking about, and then I will answer it if you can give me some better context, and then we will wrap this up. Because, like I said, I got work to do. So go ahead, give me some context. Your plans and goals. Well, I talked about that in this book right here called The Mental Workbook. So you can get this when you go get your copy of The Third Day. You go get your copy of this book at thirddaybook.com. We're going to offer you more books. I've written a whole bunch. I told you I wrote 31 books. So I'm not going to give you just one book. I'm going to give you one book, but then I'm going to try to give you more books. And you can say yes or no. I'm going to offer you the Mental Game Super Duper Bundle that comes with 4 books. This is one of those 4. This is called The Mental Workbook. This is a 500-page book that is not all reading. A bunch of this is spaces for you to write. You see those spaces in there? That is this book right here about setting goals and making out your plans for life. And it's covered in there. I'll talk about it in there. So the first part of that book is reading, and then the next part of the book is you writing. So that is all covered in the Mental Workbook. So good question, but that's where the answer is right there. Let me see what I got here. Raquel said, not telling anybody about your plans, how you plan to accomplish goals, etc. Yeah, all right, got it. Deuce, college track athletes want to hoop next year. I don't want to get hurt, but I got to try. All right, well, good luck. Should I risk or just staying in my track lane? I can't answer that for you. You're the one who has to live with that. You got to live with that decision, so I can't tell you. Go Giver says it's going to take me a million years to finish your book. Well, the Mental Workbook is not 500 pages of reading. It's probably about 100 pages of reading. The rest of it is you writing. It's actually a journal book is what it is. All right, so everybody, now we wrapping this up. Y'all have a great weekend. Get your ticket to Working Your Game Live. That link is in my bio also on Instagram. So if you forget the link, just go to my Instagram bio, my profile. Y'all know how to use Instagram. Click the link right there on my bio. It'll take you to Working Your Game Live. Get your ticket, and that's that. Everybody have a great... Oh, yeah. Let me put my text number in here, too. I usually forget that. Y'all want to get my daily motivation text? Just text me at that number right there. This is also in my bio. Just click the contact button, and the text will come up. You can text me at that number. Get my daily motivation every day. Y'all have a good Friday. Working your game. Out of here.